Welcome, crypto fam, to the #1 daily Bitcoin pod. In today's show, I'll be sharing the latest Bitcoin technical analysis as we do each and every day, as well as breaking news. NYDIG executive chairman publishes a report stating Bitcoin is free speech protected by the First Amendment, and therefore regulating Bitcoin has clear constitutional implications. Preach. Also, U.S. Congressman Tom Emmer grills Gensler over crypto regulation, quoting him here, "Your inconsistencies on this issue have sent this country back. We could not have had a more historically destructive or lawless chairman of the SEC." Preach. We'll also be discussing sustained Bitcoin ETF inflows may buoy the price despite slowing spot buying. We'll also be discussing, obviously, the latest with Gensler recently being grilled, Caroline Ellison sentenced to 2 years in prison, as well as MicroStrategy should lend Bitcoin a boost yield, according to this analyst. And we're also going to be covering the latest from PlanB, creator of the Bitcoin stock to flow model. He says only a matter of time before Bitcoin explodes upwards. I'll be sharing his bullish outlooks. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more, in today's show. If you're new to the channel, important to smash those likes. It's free to do so. It's also free to subscribe. Half of you guys that watch aren't subscribed. What the frick? Just subscribe. And hit the bell icon, turn on all notifications. Always greatly appreciated. Today is pod episode 1768. I'm your host, JV. It's Wednesday midweek here, September 25th, 2024. Bitcoin's maintaining above 73. We did tap this close. We were $200 away from 65 yesterday, which is the current resistance, the line in the sand we need to get above. Let's kick it off with our market watch. You should be able to see Coin 360 here on your screen. The majority of the market pulling back some today after almost tapping 65 yesterday. Today, Bitcoin's down 1.7%, trading just above 63.3. We got Ether down 3%, trading just under 26. Solana barely in the green as XRP, Cardano, Tron all correcting and in the red. And checking out coinmarketcap.com. Current crypto market cap sits at 2.22 trillion. So there you go. And the Bitcoin market cap is currently sitting at $1.25 trillion. We got roughly 70 billion worth of volume past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance on the decline, 56.2%, along with the Ether dominance back in the 13.9% projectile. Just like that. And checking out top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours. We got WorldCoin leading the pack up 22.2%. I mean, there's two omens of 222. Interesting. SEI is up 15% and PopCat up 8%. Let me know which alts, if any, you're bullish on for the bull. And in between stories, I'll be reading those comments out loud. And checking out the crypto bubbles, we get a visual perspective on the daily. Then we'll zoom in on the monthly. Looks like the majority of the market is actually in the green today, believe it or not. I'd say, I don't know, maybe 60-70% in the green. And checking out the monthly, maintaining 60-70% in the green. Good to see that. And checking out the crypto greed and fear index. We're in greed today, 59. Yesterday in the past few days has been neutral. Last week in fear, and last month of 55 in greed. And checking out the time chain calendar, we have 187,159 blocks to go into the halving, scheduled to take place sometime around April of 2028, being we just had one in April of 2024 on the 19th. And checking out here, we're currently on block height 862,841, and you can currently trade $1 for 1,580 satoshis. So again, today's exchange is $1 is 1,580 sats. So stack them sats accordingly, family. But let's continue. Let's dive into today's technical analysis, aka astrology for the broskies, as we do each and every day. And I'll pull up some of the live charts as well. This headline reads, Bitcoin price coils as the market confirms 65,000 is the real resistance. And I think we came within a couple of $100 from that just yesterday. Here you're looking at the 1 hour chart. Bitcoin faced inertia at the September 25th Wall Street Open as overhead resistance strengthened. Data from TradingView tracked the return below 64 Gs after the Bitcoin USD pair hit new 1-month highs of 64.8 on Bitstamp, so close. And while achieving higher lows and higher highs on the hourly time frame, the Bitcoin price action was not enough to convince the traders that a major breakout could be next. Analyzing market structure, popular trader Scoo stressed 65 Gs, the site of key sell-side liquidity throughout the recent days, showing no signs of crumbling. Quoting him here, price still struggling to find momentum around 65,000 and Monday high. Notably, there's a clear path of selling around 65, which confirms market views that the price as real resistance and supply. Quoting them here, compounding ask liquidity has been added to 65,000, which means it'll take high volume buying from takers as well as passive buyers to auction higher. Scoo noted that to the downside, bid liquidity remained in place between 60 and 62,000. Data from monitoring resource CoinGlass highlighted the extent of the 65,000 wall of ask liquidity across the exchanges on the day. Quoting them here, decent amount of sell orders sitting on the Binance spot pair. Some of it got filled earlier on these local highs. He also points out this is right in line with the big 65,000 level, which could signal a market structure break, ultimately hinting that that's the current line in the sand we need to conquer. And they also shared last summer Bitcoin chopped around for 219 days, finally making new highs on October 23rd. And so far, the chop has taken 210 days, and October is about to start. That's right, less than a month out. New highs soon. Let me know your thoughts. I believe it's inevitable personally. Now, meanwhile, Bitcoin will leave many people sidelined, according to some analysts, quoting another analyst here. While there's currently a lack of idiosyncratic crypto factors driving the prices, the stars are aligning in the macro environment, which could drive crypto prices higher. According to QCP Capital, who shared here, we know how explosive crypto prices can be. And with so many bullish catalysts, we think the next move higher will leave so many people surprised and sideline. Let me know if you agree or disagree with that sentiment. And before I pull up some of the live charts, here's some exciting breaking news. NYDIG Executive Chairman published the following report stating, Bitcoin is free speech protected by the First Amendment, and therefore regulating Bitcoin has clear constitutional implications. Damn straight. Well said there. And U.S. Congressman Tom Emmer grilled Chairman SEC of the SEC Gary Gensler over the crypto regulation, quoting him here. And I'll break this down a little later, but just a quote, your inconsistencies on the issue have sent this country back. We could not have had a more historically destructive or lawless chairman of the SEC. Preach. And quoting Stacey Herbert, Renaissance 2.0 needs artists, architects, engineers, innovators, visionaries, writers, pioneers, explorers, dreamers, builders, philosophers. President Bukele, the philosopher king at the UNGA, invites the very best and the brightest from around the world to come and build the new El Salvador. And of course, shout out El Salvador, shout out Bukele, shout out Stacey, shout out Max, and the rest of the fam. Now let's pull up some of the live charts, and let me go ahead and switch the scene up to make it cleaner for you guys to see. This is live and in the flesh right now via TradingView, via Coinbase. You're looking at the 1 hour chart. There's a lot of targets occurring here. The most bullish one in the blue is sitting just above 66,000, about 3,000 from where we're at. We also have a pink target you can see at 60,500, and then we have the green bottomest target sitting all the way down at 58,200. Again, this is the 1 hour chart live and in the flesh via TradingView, via Coinbase. Now let's check out the 4 hour chart, and we'll work our way out. Lots of targets here as well. We do have a bullish pennant formation and a rising wedge. The most bullish target on this chart is sitting at 81.3, and the most bearish target on this chart is sitting all the way down at $38,000. Again, this is the 4 hour. Working our way out. Here's the 1 day chart. You can see we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6 of the past 8 daily closings have been in the green. Unfortunately, we just are, forming another red candle here today as we're pulling back, but we did have a very nice price surge yesterday, so that's to be expected. But we do have a bottom target you need to be aware of on this chart, sitting at $47,700. We'll check out the weekly next, and then we'll follow up with the monthly. The weekly chart still has the bullish cup and handle pattern, sitting all the way at $124,400. That's my personal target for Q4, sometime between October and December. Let me know if you agree or disagree with that particular target for 2024. And zooming out on the monthly, you can see we've had 6 months of sideways trading action. Will September end as a September bull or a September bear? You let me know your thoughts before entering the infamous October, as Q4 right around the corner. But let's dive into our next story of the day, eh? Let's discuss these ETF inflows. Headline reads, sustained Bitcoin ETF inflows may buoy the price despite slowing the spot buying. And in other news, BlackRock acquires 359,279 Bitcoin. That's right. BlackRock purchased that many Bitcoin since January of 2024, totaling over $23 billion. So they outpaced MicroStrategy, which took them 4 years to acquire 200,000. Now I think MicroStrategy is ballpark 255,000. Well, BlackRock already has 359,000. Let that one sink in, yo. So yeah, a multi-day streak of Bitcoin ETF inflows is starting to form, which may prop up the Bitcoin price, even with fading spot buyer demand. According to Bitfinex analysts, quoting them here, sustained ETF inflows could buoy the Bitcoin price. Let me know if you agree or disagree with that. Quoting on them again, with Bitcoin spot markets buying slowly, evidenced by the spot cumulative volume delta flattening. When the price reached 63.5, we foresee Bitcoin moving in a range in the near term. And on September 24th, yesterday, spot Bitcoin ETF saw a cumulative inflow of 136 milli, marking a 4-day streak of positive inflows, according to Farside data as outlined here. And now this comes during a month often viewed as bearish for Bitcoin traders. The data shows September is usually the worst month for Bitcoin, with the asset posting an average monthly loss of 4.5% over the last 11 years. And at this time, Bitcoin's up approximately 6% since September 18th, trading at 63.7 according to TradingView data. Meanwhile, Bitcoin's dominance, representing its share of the total crypto market cap, has dipped 1% since September 18th, now clocking roughly 57.6%. According to TradingView, Bitfinex analysts suggest Bitcoin could see further upside if ETF inflows remain positive, while traditional finance markets like the S&P continue to rally. However, if spot buyer demand doesn't return, the most likely scenario is Bitcoin price will consolidate or see a partial correction without sustained spot buying. There is a general consensus in the industry that the November United States presidential election, November 5th, will play the crucial role in determining the Bitcoin future price direction. However, some industry leaders expect the biddy to reach six figures within the next 12 months, regardless of the outcome. And I believe that as well. I don't care who's in office. Bitcoin's destiny, six figures here soon. Let me know if you agree. We have Geoff Kendrick, global head of digital asset at Standard Chartered. The cross-border bank believes Bitcoin will reach 200,000 likely by the end of 2025, regardless of who wins the 2024 U.S. presidential election. In fact, I believe I covered that a couple of days ago in the pod. And who's the primary shareholder of Standard Chartered? BlackRock is all freaking in. So you already know. And like I said, when I say all in, I mean it. 359,000 Bitcoin accumulated by BlackRock since September. So, I mean, since January, which is roughly, 8 or 9 months? 8 months. Pretty mind-boggling, to say the least. But there you have it, yo. But anyways, fam, let's continue with the news, shall we? We discussed the latest with the ETF inflows and BlackRock accumulating like there's no tomorrow. Now let's discuss the hilariousness of the worm, Jamie Tapeworm's broski. Gary the Worm Gensler. U.S. representative criticizes Gensler as the most destructive SEC chairman during the hearing. They handed it to him yesterday. United States Representative Tom Emmer slammed SEC chairman Gensler during a congressional hearing, calling him the most destructive and lawless chairman of the regulator's 90-year history. I second that. You've made up the term crypto asset security. This term is nowhere to be found in statute. You made it up, and you never provided any interpretive, on how crypto asset security might be defined within the walls of your SEC. Emmer shared with Gensler before the House of Financial Services Committee hearing yesterday, September 24th. Let me know if you guys watched that. Gary was literally shaking. You got to love it. Emmer said the term had served as the entire basis for Gensler's enforcement crusade against the crypto industry for the last 3 years. This was up until last week when the SEC lawyers retracted the term in the court footnote. Quoting them here, your inconsistencies on the issue have set this country back, Gary. You could have not had a more historically destructive or lawless chairman of the SEC. Let me know if you agree. We need to fire this mofo. Emmer also grilled Gensler over his agency's handling of the debt box case in which the SEC sued a crypto startup startup, alleging a $50 million fraud scheme. The case against Debtbox was dismissed May 28th, and the SEC was ordered to pay $1.8 million in fees. Good. I love when the SEC and Gary the Worm take a big fat L. So serves him right. Emmer told the SEC attorneys crafted a series of lies in the debt box, not surprised, to effectuate the commands of Gensler's anti-crypto rhetoric and regulation by enforcement agenda. The matters in this case were not well handled, Gensler said in response to Emmer's questioning. Gensler also faced heat from within his own ranks. SEC Commissioner Crypto Mom Hester Pierce saying the SEC's move to retract the term crypto asset security in court last week should have happened a long time ago. Quoting her here, by tucking into a footnote, we admit that now actually the token itself is not a security. That's something that we should have admitted long ago. Kudos to Hester Pierce. We have fallen on our duty as a regulator not to be precise. And when asked whether crypto tokens need a statutory definition as assertion of how security laws apply to them, Pierce responded, it is always helpful to have Congress weigh in, but there certainly are some guidelines we could provide in this area that we have chosen not to provide. Hence, no Claire Gare. He didn't get that nickname for no reason. Despite calls from 42 U.S. politicians, as I shared yesterday, to rescind the SEC Staff Accounting Bulletin number 121 rule, Gensler said it will remain in effect. So he's not listening to anybody. Crazy, right? No, it is good accounting bulletin, Gensler said in response to a question from Representative Wiley Nickel about whether the SEC would rescind the rule. SAB 121 rule mandates the SEC reporting entities that crypto custody must record those holdings as liabilities on their balance sheet. SAB 121 appeal bill received bipartisan support in Congress before being vetoed by Sleepy Joe in June. Gensler claims it helps public companies understand the risks associated with holding crypto, pointing to FTX. The one you allowed to do the big fraud scam under your nose, Gary? You were meeting behind closed doors. How many meetings did you have with Scam Bankman-Fried? Off the record and on the record, at least 2 or 3 times, according to your own testimony, broski. Just saying. Now, Nickel didn't bite, claiming SAB 121 actually makes the digital asset ecosystem less safe. Nickel recently said SAB 121 would prevent U.S. banks from custodying crypto ETFs at scale, creating a concentration risk by handling more control over to the non-bank entities. So with the rule now in place, Nickel slammed the SEC's Office of the Chief Accountant for recently exempting the Bank of New York Mellon from the balance sheet reporting requirement, arguing it will lead to different rules for different folks, different strokes for different folks. But Gensler disagreed. It is actually the same rules for different folks. Here's what I'm going to say. Anything Gensler says is ultimately a lie. He's a fraudster. He's a huckster. He's a scam artist. And in his own words, he's a flim-flam artist. So anything he says, I don't believe, and I think the opposite. And that's just me. Let me know if you agree or disagree. And do you think Gensler will eventually get fired? Trump promises if he is elected, day one, I will fire Gary Gensler, chairman of the SEC. You're motherfucking fired, Gary. And if you'd like to see Gary get fired, give me a hashtag FGG. And let me know. Let's discuss the latest with Caroline Ellison being sentenced to 24 months, 2 years in a low security prison, opposite of Bankman-Fried that just got the sentence of 25 years in a high security prison, and allegedly P. Diddy is now in the same prison, high security prison, as Bankman-Fried. Can't make this ish up. But actually, yeah, we have a lot more to share. So let's discuss this. Then we'll be discussing some Bitcoin yields, as well as the latest timeline from PlanB, creator of the Bitcoin stock to flow model, with some very bullish price predictions. And then we'll dive into our live Q&A. Let's go. Headline here reads, Caroline Ellison sentenced to 2 years in prison. That's right. Former Alameda Research CEO Caroline Ellison was sentenced on September 24th to 2 years in a minimum security prison for her role in the FTX collapse. The sentence was handed down by Judge Kaplan of the District Court of Southern New York, who determined Ellison must also forfeit roughly $11 billion she earned from FTX. My first question: how in the world did she earn $11 billion as the CEO? What CEO gets paid $11 billion? And was that money then stolen? Like, how would she earn that much? I want answers to that. Someone please explain that to me. Kaplan said Ellison's surrender date will be set on or after November 7th. So that means, if I'm understanding this right, she has until November to forfeit $11 billion. Where in the world, again, did she get the $11 billion from? Is it from the stolen customer funds? Like, make logic out of this for me, please. And if she does have that kind of funds, is that just sitting in a bank? I find that hard to believe. No one would be that stupid. Is it sitting in Bitcoin? Is it in FTT scam tokens? I mean, break it down, please. Ellison could have faced 110 years. So obviously they gave her a very favorable term here in prison for her crimes. Imagine. So if it was any Joe Schmo, they would have, like, if you were getting charged for this and you weren't Caroline Ellison and you weren't connected to the Democratic Party and didn't have connected parents, that would have probably been your sentence, just like Ross Ulbricht got lifetime or 2 lifetime sentences for prison for some BS. That's why we got a pardon Ross. But anyways, Lewis expressed considerable sympathy for her. According to Bloomberg, here's what the judge told her. You're a very strong person, Miss Ellison, in some ways, but not inviolable, whatever that word means. I don't even know. Mr. Bankman-Fried had your kryptonite. We giving Superman references now, Judge? You were vulnerable and you were exploited. So they give her sympathy. Oh, we feel sorry for you. That Bankman-Fried took it full advantage of you. Ellison clasped her hands in front as the sentence was read, and family members in attendance at the trial cried. The reclusive Ellison complained that she was subject to harassment. Oh, poor Ellison. From the crypto community. Well, if you steal 10 or $20 billion worth of customer funds with the biggest, bigger than the Bernie Madoff scam, people are going to have some not so kind words for you, Caroline. This is just the reality of the world we live in, just FYI. She cooperated extensively with the prosecution in the case against Bankman-Fried, her former colleague and lover, and the one she would have orgies with in the mansion in the Bahamas. And so much that the prosecution recommended leniency for her. So they felt sorry for her. I mean, poor girl. Look at her here. In fact, the judge said, I've seen a lot of cooperators in 30 years. I have never seen one quite like Miss Ellison, saying she's the best cooperator they have ever had in 30 years. Can you say biased? Jesus Christ. Ellison's lawyers have asked the court to limit her prison sentence to time served, but Copland said the sentencing had would be not a get out of jail free card, so they couldn't just give her probation. They probably looked too criminal. Insanity. The sentence points to the likelihood that co-defendants and former FTX executives Gary Wang and Nishad will also serve jail time. Singh will be sentenced October 30th, next month, and Wang on November 20th. And like Ellison, they also pled guilty to the charges against them. The only one that pled not guilty was Bankman-Fried. Now, meanwhile, Ryan Salami was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison in May. FTX founder Bankman-Fried, as we know, was sentenced to 25 years in the high security prison. And guess the one executive they leave out of any sentencing and just walked away scot-free. What's his name? It's the other freaking Sam Trabucco. Why did he get away free? Who is he connected to? These are the questions I ask myself. But anyways, family, there you have it. What are your thoughts with Caroline Ellison getting a little slap on the wrist? You know what I mean? Let me know. She is the best snitch. Exactly. Best snitch ever reward. Instead of 110 years, I only got to do 24 months. I am a great snitch. And let's dive into our next story. Let's discuss this Bitcoin yield, then the bullishness from PlanB, along with the timeline when we hit 600 Gs next year, followed by 1 million per coin. Then we'll dive into the live Q&A. We got some new music to share with you. So much more. Here, the headline reads, MicroStrategy should lend Bitcoin a boost to yield. That's right. MicroStrategy's Bitcoin buying spree has been a key driver of the stock's outperformance. And the company should consider beginning to generate a yield by lending out a portion of the Bitcoin holdings. According to a September 24th analyst, the company's stock MSTR could be worth $215 per share if MicroStrategy continues to leverage its balance sheet to buy more of the Biddy and start lending out the digital currency for low risk yield, according to benchmark fintech analyst Mark Palmer. Shares of MSTR currently trade at $153 after a 10-for-1 stock split recently, August 9th. MicroStrategy's core business is enterprise software, and still its public market valuation is mainly from holding Bitcoin, which has started accumulating back in 2020. How many of you were fortunate enough to front run Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy? Meaning, did you get involved in Bitcoin prior to 2020? If so, MicroStrategy and Saylor work for you. Hence, Saylor, Employee of the Month. Now go get your shine box, Michael. Hilarious, right? And on September 18th, Executive Chairman Saylor said in a pod that Bitcoin could become a form of perfected capital that serves as a store of value and generates low-risk yield from digital banking services such as lending and borrowing. Now, despite investor concerns about MSTR valuation, the stock trades at a premium to the value of his Bitcoin holdings. And I think it's one of the best, if not the best performing stock in the S&P 500 or getting close to it. I don't know if it's actually in the S&P 500 yet. So you guys let me know if any of you are into the stocks. Quoting him here, we believe the flywheel effect seen in its Bitcoin acquisition strategy helps to support the argument that the premium is justified and that it is a feature of that strategy rather than a bug. And during the August 1st earnings call, MicroStrategy doubled down on the Bitcoin buying by committing to a unique performance metric called the Bitcoin yield. Bitcoin yield measures the ratio of Bitcoin holdings to outstanding shares and effectively sets Bitcoin per share as a lodestar for corporate performance. In a note on August 2nd, Palmer said that the idea is to demonstrate the efficacy of its Bitcoin acquisition strategy and its use of intelligent leverage. On September 20th, MicroStrategy completed $1 billion convertible note offering, allocating proceeds for Bitcoin purchases and debt repayment. That $1 billion purchase hasn't even transpired yet, but he did just announce a $400 million purchase, like it ain't no thing, quoting them here. A portion of the proceeds from MSTR's latest convertible bond were used to retire $500 million, which is a half a billy of 6.125% senior secured notes due in 2028, around the time of the next halving. And they also pointed out, as a result of the notes retirement, the 69,000 Bitcoins that MSTR has pledged to collateralize holdings with a market value of $4.4 billion became unencumbered. This creates opportunities for MicroStrategy, Palmer said, especially with institutional crypto custodians proliferating in the U.S. and mounting institutional interest in crypto as an asset class, the largest custodian being none other than Coinbase, the largest crypto exchange here in the States. In fact, the majority of all the major asset managers are using Coinbase as the custodian for the Bitcoin ETF, minus Fidelity, including BlackRock. Quoting them here, with the SEC's increased flexibility regarding digital assets, as well as some of the major institutions' newfound interest into the crypto space, it appears likely that the company may soon have available to its large institutional counterparties, to which it could lend a portion of its Bitcoin with something close to certainty that those loans would be repaid. And that's according to Palmer's post on September 24th, just yesterday. Let me know if you agree or disagree with Palmer. But now for our feature story of the day. PlanB, creator of the Bitcoin stock-to-flow model, says only a matter of time before Bitcoin explodes upwards. In fact, I'm going to be sharing his outlook, including Bitcoin smashing 600,000 next year and even hitting $1 million as a cycle peak in 2025 before correcting. I'll be sharing this timeline. Let's break this baby down. Welcome everyone to join the live stream. Quant analyst PlanB, and shout out to PlanB, I'm a fan. He believes that Bitcoin's on the verge of having an explosive 2020 style breakout to new highs. How many of you were around in the year 2020 at that halving? Let me know. And by the year 2021, we hit the previous cycle peak, which was 69,000. I believe that was November 10th. Correct me if I'm wrong. PlanB tells his 2 million followers on X that Bitcoin has been consolidating near 60 G's range, similar to how it did near 10,000 in 2020. Quoting him here, 60,000 is the new 10,000. It's a matter of time before it explodes upwards, in my opinion. Let me know if you agree. The analyst shares a chart, which you can see on your screen, of the realized price metric, which records the value of all coins in a current time frame at the price they were last transacted on chain, divided by the number of the Bitcoin in circulation. The chart suggests that the 5-month realized price level is acting as a strong support level, similar to 2020. As the Bitcoin realized chart shares right here. The analyst also says Bitcoin has been going through what has historically been the boring phase of the market cycle. You can say that again. We had 6 months of sideways boringness. That precedes an explosive breakout, so nothing new under the sun. Quoting him here again, the yellow periods are boring. Bitcoin does not move, and it's all about the short periods in between 2013, 2017, and the end of 2020. Those are the fundamental price moves, so don't miss the next move, as you can see outlined here in the chart. The analyst also notes how most of the Bitcoin gains come within a very short window. Yeah, that's right, typically within 10 days. So we're going to have a massive run-up. You got to keep that in mind. It can happen when you least expect it. PlanB says Bitcoin's massive price gains have occurred in only 27 months out of Bitcoin's 162-month history. That's right, quoting him again, only 27 months in the last 13 years generated all the Bitcoin gain. That's 2013, 2017, and 2020, 2021. So do not miss the next leg up And I'll share with you some of his recent tweets as well. These ones we covered in the story. This is the most intriguing one I wanted to focus on. He actually posted this one yesterday, September 24th. It got 1.3 million views. He shares the stock to flow chart right here, which shows you the calm before the storm. You already know what's after this in the pattern family. But let's break down a scenario. And FYI, just a scenario. October, classic pump month, Bitcoin, 70 G's. November, Trump wins the election, ends Democrats, and Biden-Harris Warren Gensler's war on crypto. Bitcoin, 100,000. So he's ultimately saying we finally hit that six-figure milestone in November around election time of this year. Then the following month of December, he predicts massive ETF inflow with Bitcoin surging to 150,000. That's in alignment with my target. I'm calling 125,000 as JV's personal Q4 target. Not investment advice. There's no guarantee that any of these targets that come into fruition. This is all speculation, family, just FYI. Now, January, crypto people and companies return to the U.S. and Bitcoin surges to 200,000. By February, the power law crew sells and Bitcoin retracts to 150,000. Then by March, Bitcoin becomes legal tender in the Kingdom of Bhutan, Argentina, and Dubai. Then Bitcoin smashes 300,000. Then by April, Trump and the U.S. start building strategic Bitcoin reserves, sending Bitcoin to 400,000. Then by May, other countries except the EU join the rat race. Bitcoin to 500,000 per coin. Then by June, several AI start using Bitcoin to autonomously ARB TradFi. And then Bitcoin gets sent to 600,000. So by June of 2025, the scenario shows Bitcoin smashing 600,000. Here's when the face melting FOMO kicks in. July through December, face melting FOMO, Bitcoin all-time high, 1 million per coin. Again, end of 2025. 2026 distribution phase, we correct all the way back down to 500,000 per Bitcoin, 500 G's. And then by 2027, we're officially in a bear market and Bitcoin then bottoms to 200,000 per coin, which is $0.2 million. Let me know if you agree or disagree with these fantastic bullish price targets from PlanB, creator of the Bitcoin stock to flow model. And I'm going to do my best to read your comments, projections, and predictions, theories, all out loud. Welcome everyone to the Q&A segment of the live stream. Let's go.